Good evening. Today is April 11th, calling the Orleans Parish School Board meeting for April 11th. The time now is 5:36. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Ashley? Mr. Brown?
Here.
Ms. Ellison?
Here.
Mr. Kleben?
Here.
Mr. Koppel?
Present.
Mr. Marshall?
Here.
Ms. Newell Houston?
Here.
Also present are Dr. Henderson Lewis Jr. and Sharonda Williams, Board Counsel. We have a quorum.
Thank you. I will be serving as facilitating the meeting. Mr. Brown has had a dental procedure, so I'll be presiding over the meeting tonight. So we have interpretation services. Where are staff? If you'll come up, please.
The Spanish interpreter is they should be here shortly. Chào quý vị, nếu quý vị nào cần thông dịch, tôi tên là Việt, tôi có thể giúp quý vị xin cho tôi biết.
It's not on.
Dạ, xin chào tất cả quý vị. Tôi tên là Việt. Nếu quý vị cần thông dịch, xin cho tôi biết. Quý vị có thể giơ tay lên và tôi sẽ đến với quý vị. Cảm ơn.
Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Michael Johnson, and who's the other gentleman with him?
Coriel Pierce.
Thank you. The captain, Michael is the captain of Booker T. Washington boys basketball team. Will everyone please stand?
I will pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to item 1.3, adoption of the agenda. Do we have any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda?
Ms. Ellison, we need to add an action item 4.13, which would be a recommendation to change the meeting schedule for next month to put the board business meeting on May 21st.
And that's action item 4.
4.13.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? No opposition. We'll now move on to item number 2.1, adoption of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
Move to adopt the minutes as printed and waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? No objection. I'll turn the item number 3 is for superintendent's agenda. Turn the meeting over to Dr. Lewis.
Thank you, Vice President Ellison. Good evening, everyone. I have a few announcements this evening. The first announcement, I had the pleasure to join many families, educators, and superintendents on yesterday in Baton Rouge to celebrate the 2019 Student of the Year award ceremony. I'm pleased to announce that the state finalist for high school is Kenyatta Zahari. She attends Ben Franklin High School. She's in the academically gifted program, maintains a 4.0 GPA, scored a 35 on the ACT, and so we'd like to give her a great round of applause for being the state winner for all high school students. She's not here this evening. Then also we want to congratulate one of our students from Lusher Charter. He's in 5th grade, Ben Belvins. He was our regional winner, and so he also was recognized on yesterday. A few other announcements. When it comes down to One App, our results for round 1 will be released later this week, and we will be providing additional information to inform our families as those results are prepared to come out. Later this month, thank you. On Monday, the legislative session kicked off in Baton Rouge. For the first time, I will say that we have drafted a robust legislative agenda for the Orleans Parish School Board. Today, I want to announce a few facilities. The McNair site, we're announcing today the availability of this site, and our operators who are interested can put in their requests. The Fisher campus, we have also begun the process to cite a long-term and a short-term operator for the Fisher campus. Rosenwald Collegiate Academy for the 2019-20 school year will be at at the Fisher site as they are waiting to complete the work on their current site. We do have a request from Elan Academy to be cited in the Fisher site for the 2022-23 school year. If any other operator is interested in the Fisher site, beginning the 2022-23 school year, they have to submit an interest by April 26. I would like to congratulate 3 of our charter networks, Inspire NOLA Charter Schools, Collegiate Academies, and Crescent City Schools. These 3 organizations recently were awarded charter school program grants from the U.S. Department of Education. These grants should be used to actually replicate and expand high-quality charter schools. So again, we congratulate Inspire NOLA Charter Schools, Collegiate Academy, and Crescent City Schools. I would like to congratulate the members of my Student Advisory Committee. They put together our first summit that happened on last weekend. I would like to thank all the board members who were able to participate. This was an opportunity to bring students from across the city of New Orleans to learn more about the school system and engage and learn from one another. And so very proud of my Student Advisory Council as they continue to lead the way here in the city. Finally, I'd like to announce that we will be doing a press conference with the College Football Playoff Foundation. They are partnering with the school district to appreciate our teachers, which Teacher Appreciation Month is next month. But we're going to kick off with a press conference to announce all the wonderful things that the Football Playoff Foundation will be doing here in our city. And finally, it's always great to have our students in our midst. I would like to take the opportunity to recognize the Booker T. Washington baseball team. Basketball team. Would you all please stand and be recognized at this time?
The coach, will you please step to the mic if you don't mind, please? Or a representative from your team, just to say your victories, and we want to celebrate all the young men and their accomplishments, and just tell us what has happened.
Good evening. I want to thank you guys for inviting us. This is a great group of individuals, young men. They all have really, really good grades. 2.5s are high, right? They're young, we return everybody, and we went to the finals this year.
That was state finals? That was state finals or national finals? Congratulations.
Definitely state, but
It's
we
state.
have some of the top players in the country as well, right?
Great.
So yeah, we may
Yes.
have a chance to play
Yes.
for a national championship in the future.
So will all the young men come up to the front for a picture, along with the coaches as well? Congratulations to the coaches and our young people. Board members.
Ms. Ellison, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Congratulations again to our young people and the coaches from Booker T. Washington High School. I'll now, we'll move on to action items. I'll now yield to the board council.
Action item 4.1 is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board approve the 2019-2020 list of schools to be shared with the Louisiana Department of Education.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Is there any cards on this item?
There is one card, but I think Ms. Aiken wants to address the board as well.
Good evening. The 1920 school list, this is a standard procedure to submit the list of schools that will be open for the 1920 school year to the LDOE, which is also inclusive of schools that will no longer be operating.
Thank you.
We have one comment card, Wanda Romaine.
Good evening, Wanda Romaine, Woodland Drive 70131. I see that 35 is listed on this document as being open for the 10th through 12th grade year, but 35 is not open to have 10th graders in their school. So I'm just wondering if that was a typo. You know, that's something to be kept. So, but that ties into a point that I read in the superintendent's newsletter about one app. It states that demand for seats is very high, but ultra-concentrated. And while there are 79 OPSB schools, most applications list the same 5 to 10 schools. It also states that in a most urgent priority is to increase capacity at A and B schools and to increase the awareness at A-rated growth schools. But how can that be achieved when schools that are under-resourced and burdened with unstable leadership, toxic school climate, and a loss of culture dominate the number of schools that can be chosen from? An authentic solution is to develop policies that help all schools become A and B performance schools, not just growth schools. Give all schools the resources they need to achieve success. Then the numbers of A and B performance schools will increase, and the number of closed schools, like the ones on the list, will decrease. The children are hungry for the best educations, but they're being starved by the lack of choices available to them. If you feed the children the best education, they will grow themselves and New Orleans into a great place. Thank you.
Just want to give a point of clarity. McDonald's 35 this school year, we have 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students. If a student does not meet the requirement to have enough credits to move on to 11th grade, he or she is classified as a 10th grade student, so that's why it's listed 10 to 12 for the upcoming school year.
That's it.
From your statement.
Thank you.
That was the only comment card. We've got a motion on the floor.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? No objection, the item passes.
Action item 4.2, it is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board add the vacant property at the former Durham and Chester schools, as well as the McDonough 7 property, to the list of surplus property, as those pieces of property are deemed unnecessary for future use by OPSB for school purposes.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made, a second. Are there any cards?
We have a number of comment cards on this item.
Okay.
Michael Mancuso, and following Mr. Mancuso, Ann Middleton.
Good evening. My name is Michael Mancuso, and I live at 1034 Milan Street. I've been here before, and I'd just like to reiterate a couple of concerns from a legal perspective that we've raised previously. It appears that in the board's haste to secure the Booker T. Washington athletic fields, the board intends to act this evening in a manner that disregards both the law and board policy. Once we respectfully request that the board delay in taking any action this evening that would be subject to legal challenge, and instead work with us to explore alternatives that would comply with the law. To reiterate, first, the state statute that provides for the sale and exchange of school property is clear that school property cannot be declared surplus or transferred until it is no longer used, even to another governmental entity. There are Attorney General opinion letters that support this conclusion, and McDonough 7 cannot be declared surplus or transferred until after Audubon Charter leaves. Second, state law also mandates that the property be made available to charter schools. We'd like to clarify that the law does not limit this only to a single offering. Until Audubon ceases operation in 2021 and the property lawfully becomes surplus, the school site must be made available to other charter schools in each application cycle. Based upon my review of recent OPSB the charter application cycle, there will be at least 5 application cycles, including the current one, before McDonough 7 is vacant. The school should be made available to all such chartering groups. And one final observation, a subsequent agenda item today relates to the sale of McDonough number 19 to Hano. If the need for Booker T. Washington land is so pressing, why has not the McDonough 19 site been offered to Hano in connection with the proposed land swap? Unlike McDonough number 7 that will be used for another 2 years, that site is currently vacant and is true surplus property. And also, it should be noted that's in the process of being rezoned to permit Hano's intended use. If the board appears to be exercising good judgment with respect to the public's property in that situation, we ask that they do so with respect to this one. Thanks.
Next speaker is Ann Middleton. After Ms. Middleton, Rudy Warcape.
Hi, Ann Middleton, 37-year resident that lives near McDonough 7. On Tuesday, before McDonough 7 was voted surplus, we talked a lot about the definition of surplus. Today, we want to talk about the definition of fiduciary duty. The dictionary once again notes the possibility of a different definition that one that I understand that you may be using for fiduciary duty. A fiduciary is each one of you. It is someone entrusted with the care of money and property, or in this case, the public's money and property. It also involves proper record keeping. So you decide with these 5 questions if the definition of fiduciary is being met. Should the property committee's votes have been individually registered on Tuesday as they were not? Can you produce precedents for declaring our property, our school property, because it's owned by the citizens, by declaring McDonough 7 useless 2 years early? Should you index, the index you use for determining property condition also include the probability of flooding or a factor for current open space? If so, Booker T. Washington School might rank lower than McDonough 7. Would this city's model of zoning regulations for walkability be upheld with the disposal of McDonough 7, or do you wish to bus more children? If we cannot do the almost impossible task of finding another school now for when McDonough 7 is vacated in 2 years, don't you think it's best to still preserve our rare 1877 Ferret building? It's by selling it to a preservationist. There have been developer offers for $3.6 million and more. If such funds are turned down, it could hurt all of the school children and prevent Booker T. Washington from getting their outdoor space. You see, with almost $4 million in sales proceeds, you could build an indoor athletic facility that is air conditioned.
Thank you.
And that's a lot of money.
Next speaker, Rudy Warcape. And after Mr. Warcape, Arame Marks.
Good day. My name is Rudy Vorkapik. I live at 1030 Milan Street. My daughter goes to Audubon Charter in that building. Mr. Marsh and I are both parents of kids who go there. I truly believe this building is one of the jewels of New Orleans. It's our history. This building is our history. And this is what I want to see preserved, that building, the outside, the facade. I was just speaking with Mr. Kleban. We had an interesting idea. And this would lend me to the thought of perhaps we can have a couple of weeks to get this settled a little bit. I mean, this whole thing has just come up in the last 72 hours in terms of the vote and the preliminary vote on what we're talking about here. But what about adding covenants to the agreement with Hano to say that they can't throw out that facade? Something like that. Some conditional use, perhaps. Some kind of agreement that we can set at the back end of the deal to say, save that facade. That's an idea, folks. That's something that might work. That might. Because right now, that building, it's just, I mean, if they take that building, if you give them that land, they're going to knock that building down either with permission somehow, I don't know how, but eventually they're just going to let it rot to blight. We're going to watch this beautiful, beautiful building, and we can all agree it is, on the outside, a very beautiful building. But it's going to rot. We're going to have to watch this thing die. please, this is our history. This school has been there for 142 years. It's been there before most of the houses. It's been there before the sidewalks. It's been there before the streets. Kids used to have to come in carriages or however they would come, because that would be an interesting history project. And this is history. Ladies and gentlemen, please, can we sensically say, just give us 2 weeks to just understand what we might really be able to do. We want you to have a football field. We do. We want those kids at Booker T to thrive. They're in the same situation my kids are in and Mr. Marshall's are in that they are
time,
in
Mr.
one place
Verkapik.
going to another.
Aaron May Marks is the
Thank you
next
very much.
speaker, and after Aaron May Marks, it's Robert Eisen.
Thank you so much. My name's Aramy Marks. I live at 1010 Milan Street. I've been a resident on that block for 25 years. My biggest question, well, I have a couple of questions, but the biggest one is, first of all, Ben, may I call you Ben? We had a meeting in November in which you said to us that there'd be full transparency with everything, there'd be lots of time. All we want is time to save our school. It's been a school since 1877. It's placed on a surplus list, and I didn't even realize this till today looking at the agenda, with 2 empty lots. How can a school that's operational right now with students that are flourishing of all backgrounds, all types of schools? I know because they walk past my door every day. And I don't understand how they could lump a school building like McDonough 7 with 2 vacant lots. And I don't know, Ben, if you lived in the area during Katrina, but that school building stayed high and dry. And after Katrina, they were able to use that as a swing space, as an incubator for other schools, when most of the other schools had some kind of damage. So I just feel like it's premature to put it on the surplus list since there are 2 more years it'll be operational. That's my biggest concern, and how fast it's been rushed through. Give us some time to at least have a transparency, talk about what can be done to preserve that beautiful building. It was built as a public free school for residents of New Orleans, for the children that could not afford the St. George's and the St. Stephen's. Why take that away? At least give us a chance to find a viable alternative for operating a school and keep that history there. And believe me, we're all in favor of the kids getting their field. I question the decision of whoever earmarked all that money to renovate in that location, because brownfields, I've been in commercial real estate, that's never good. And I hope and pray that you guys have made an independent study of water table and soil samples, because if not, you don't want to have young people exposed to that kind of thing. So I'm just saying that as an extra point. But please reconsider the surplus status of this building. Let us have an opportunity to find maybe a viable charter after it is truly vacant and surplus. And I question that rating. I sat there and watched them put a 30-year metal roof on that building. I saw them apply a beautiful rear fire escape to that building. I saw them install satellite air-conditioned classrooms at that building. And I just feel that that money would be thrown out the window if it wasn't repurposed again as a charter school. And that's all I have to say, but thank you very much.
Next speaker, Robert Eisen, and after Robert Eisen, Ann Eisen.
Good evening. I'm Robert Eisen. I live at 4029 Camp Street and have for the last 44 years. This is New Orleans. We love old and beautiful. This building is a landmark. It was dedicated in 1877 and designed by William Alfred Ferret. He also designed the State Capitol building that was destroyed in the Civil War. Then he redesigned and rebuilt it in 1882. His buildings are numerous. M7 is one of the last remaining buildings that he built. John McDonough was a New Orleans businessman, plantation owner, and all that. The whole thing comes down to, we love this building. It's a beautiful building. Save our beauty in New Orleans. This is New Orleans. We love it. Please save the building and don't tear it down. Someone said earlier there was a possibility of, that Ben said, we can put a possibility that the building could be saved when Hano takes it. Hey, I'm all for that. Let Hano have it, but let's keep the building. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Ann Eisen, and after Ann Eisen, Robert Corvo.
I didn't know we were going to be a tag team. But I'm Ann Eisen, and I go with Bob Eisen, and we both live at 4029 Camp Street, which is on corner of Camp and Marengo, and we have been there almost 50 years. this school has truly been the heart of this community for a long time, and we have seen multiple schools occupy that space. Some of them have been great neighbors, and some of them haven't been such great neighbors, but we've all been very happy to have the children in our neighborhood and the sounds of children all the time in a neighborhood. I know that our community feels very strongly that Booker T needs a field space. No school should have even been planned without that field space, as far as I'm concerned. It is not logical to plan a high school and not know that you're going to have field space for football and the things that kids need in today's world. So now you're caught with your backs up to the wall, and Hanno demands from you a piece of property that A, is not surplus, and B, is a beautiful old building that does represent some history to New Orleans. Pay them for the building. We have people who have offered to give us $3.8 million to buy that building. Take that money and give it to Hanno. And if Hanno doesn't want money and only wants land, then I have to question their thinking. What are they trying to get from us? Why do they just want land and not money? They could build lots of things with the money that we can get for that building once it becomes surplus. But it's not surplus now, and it's certainly not deserted. Thank you all.
Next, Robert Corvo. After Mr. Corvo, Tom Schonbrun.
Good evening, folks. Robert Corvo, 2514 3rd Street. I'm the principal of Booker T. Washington High School. Glad to be here this evening. And I know at the last board meeting, our alumni, some representatives of our alumni did a wonderful job explaining to you how much this field means to our school community. And I do appreciate the support of everybody in here for our school. As you see our young men today, this was their first year competing in LHSAA play and went all the way to the state playoffs. We intend to do the same with our football team to match the academics that we have going on at our school that are, of course, at a top level. And I also just want to say, many of you who know, we're talking about history and haste here tonight that I'm hearing, and I have a couple of historical notes to share, as well as something about the notion of haste. A lot of folks don't necessarily know, many do, because Booker T. Washington is a gem in this city, that the school community waited 25 years from the time that McDonough number 35 was opened in 1917 to when Booker T. Washington was opened in 1942 for a second high school for Black New Orleanians. 25 years. We've been waiting now, obviously, since Katrina, 2,000 plus alumni, 400 students, families all over the city and in the uptown community waiting for this school to come back the way that it was supposed to. And we're doing that work on a daily basis. And what I just want to say about that is that the role that you have as board members is difficult. And certainly it's not ideal to be in a situation where a swap has to happen. But a lot of people have history, and I don't see this as a hasty situation. We have alumni who've been working on this for over 3 years. I actually appreciate the diligence of the board with helping out our school community. The motto of Booker T since 1942 is Noblesse Oblige. What it means is, to whom much is given, much is required. We'll always stand up and deliver for you when you deliver for us. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Next, Tom Schonbrun, and the following speaker would be Juan Barreto.
According to your analysis, McDonough 7 is unsuitable as a school due to lot size, but you claim that in reference to newly constructed K-8 schools. But M7 is neither of those things. There are a huge number of existing schools in New Orleans. Just look at Sophie Wright, for instance, that sit on lots smaller than 3.5 acres. So what? It's not new construction. It's not a K-8 school. It's a 4 through 8 school. So you're misapplying both criterion. Furthermore, you state that a full renovation of the building would be a multi-million-dollar project, but nowhere is it claimed that the building truly needs a full renovation. The RSD and the city were responsible for installing an AC system that was too loud. Now you propose to scrap the whole school rather than correcting the issues they created. The federal government spent vast sums on Booker T and Sophie Wright, and we are now unable able to spend anything on M7, it just doesn't make sense. Relatively speaking, this would be a very small project. It would continue to provide the only public school option in the neighborhood. Instead, you kill M7 to acquire a playing field for Booker T. Washington. That is not a fair trade by anyone's estimation but yours. Shame on you if you vote to add M7 to surplus. How, by definition or law, it can even be added to such a list, as it is still going to be running as a school for the next 2 years, is unbelievable. You're just paying lip service to the process. The land swap is all you care to see. At Tuesday's meeting, I personally watched as your superintendent smirked and shook his head while District 5 residents gave arguments as to why M7 should not be abandoned, as to how you were acting inappropriately. Our own school board rep has unapologetically misled us and abdicated his responsibility to the district that he is supposed to be representing. Nobody in this district wants this. They want the school that existed in our midst since the 1800s to remain a school. We want assurances from you that McDonough 7 will be available to charters as possible site for the entirety of the 2 years that Audubon charters will remain there.
Grado.
And only then should a swap be entertained. Pump the brakes. We will stand in opposition.
Mr. Barreto is the next speaker.
My name is Juan Barreto. I live at 4222 Perrier. I just came to support my neighbors. I think in general, the whole world pays a lot of money to protect buildings. The state of Louisiana pays millions of dollars to protect buildings. And here we are going to destroy a building, so it doesn't make any sense. We need to find a way to get the lot for the other school. That's very important, but you don't have to destroy our neighborhood and take away a beautiful building. Thank you very much.
That was the last card on that one, Ms. Ellison.
Do we have any board comments or questions? I'll entertain a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any objection? Any objection? There's no objection. The item passes. Next item, please.
May I read
Action
something
item
into, may I read something into the record?
Sure.
Okay. I'd like to take a moment to explain what the board vote means, and also publicly the process by which these properties will be made available for sale to current Orleans Parish School Board charter operators. The former Durham Middle vacant lot and former Chester Elementary vacant lot and the McDonough 7 school building are not classified as surplus property. Tomorrow, OPSB charter schools will receive an email and survey from my administration noting the availability to purchase any of these 3 sites at a minimum of the appraised value or lease at fair market value. Schools will have until the end of the day on May 10, 2019, which is 4 weeks, to express interest in the property via survey. My facility staff will be made available during the month-long time period to guide them through tours should any operators view to want to see the property. If interest is expressed on any particular facility by one or more operators, we will begin negotiation. If interest is not expressed by the end of the day on Friday, May 10, the administration will move forward to either complete a land swap or dispose of the particular pieces of available property via auction. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Action item 4.3. It is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board approve the 2019-2020 child nutrition calendar.
So move.
Second.
There's a there's a motion on the table to pass this item. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item.
Action item 4.4. It is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board approve the amendments to Policy DC, Annual Operating Budget regarding fund balance.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any cards?
None.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? No opposition. Item passes. Next
Action item 4.5. It is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board authorize the purchase of direct diversion of USDA donated products as listed in the rationale for the child nutrition program for the 2019-2020 school year.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is a motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any objection? No objection. Item passes. Next item.
Action item 4.6, it is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board approves increasing supplemental compensation for high school employees for the upcoming summer remediation program at McDonough 35 High School.
Second.
There's a motion and a second.
We have one comment
Any
card.
cards?
Wanda Romaine.
As a very proud alumnus of McDonough 35, I have mix of pleased and bothered by the fact that you all need to conduct yet another summer remediation program at my school. Pleased that the number of students attending is 40% lower than it was last year, yet majorly bothered that the scholars at my school are compelled to spend the first precious days of their summer break making up time for working classes that may have and could have been completed during the regular school year. If the situation is because teachers no longer felt secure in their employment or were otherwise removed from positions, then I would state that maybe this remediation wouldn't be needed so that our kids can enjoy their summer as they should. And this speaks more to the leadership of OPSB as it does to have students have stronger educations before they enroll in high school. And if I'm coming across to you as politely perturbed or not politely perturbed, I'm fine with that. I wish I didn't need to do this. I know where I'd rather be. But after 178 years of doing this work, I had hopes that during my lifetime, school board officials would be more courageous in advancing true learner-enriching policies and reforms. Maybe in the 22 years before your bicentennial of OPSB is celebrated, we'll actually get a school board with leadership we're pleased with. Hashtag what about the children?
There's a motion and a second on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? Item passes. Next item.
Action item 4.7, it is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board accepts the bid from Unknown Pass Hunting Club LLC in the amount of $17,025 per year and authorize the OPSB General Counsel to prepare a 36-month lease for the period May 1st, 2019 to April 30th, 2022, and shall include an option to extend it for 2 additional one-year periods for signatures of the board president and the highest bidder.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. Any comment cards? No comment cards. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? No objection. The item passes. Next item.
Action item 4.8, it is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board authorize execution of design contract with SCNZ Architects LLC to design the Phase 2 of Hines Elementary School envelope repairs.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Second.
It's a motion and a second. Any comment cards? No comment cards. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? No objection. The item passes. Next item, please.
Action item 4.9, it is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board approve a change order in the amount of $106,372.49 with Crescent Commercial Construction for additional repair services at Hines.
May I have a motion?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Comment cards? No comment cards. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objection?
Aye.
No object. You object. One objection. Item passes. Next item, please.
Action item 4.10, it is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board authorize amendment number 6 to the design contract with NY Associates, Inc. to complete design of the Phase 2 building refurbishment at Ben Franklin Elementary School.
So moved.
There's a motion on the table. Is there a second? Second. Any comment cards?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? One objection. Item passes. Next item.
Action item 4.11, it is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board approve the purchase for furnishings and equipment for the Ben Franklin Elementary School Lafayette refurbishment project. All items can be obtained on state contract for a total cost of $447,338.74.
May I have a motion?
Second.
Any comment cards?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any objection? Item passes. Next item.
Action item 4.12, it is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board grant support to the Housing Authority of New Orleans and Alembic to secure a conditional use approval for the McDonough 19 building.
So move.
Second.
Any comment cards?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Item passes. Next item.
Action item 4.13, it is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board amend the board meeting calendar to change the May business meeting to May 21st, 2019, to avoid any potential conflicts with high school graduation ceremonies.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made and second. Any comment cards?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? No objection. Item passes. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Second.
Meeting has been adjourned.